Uninvited, Harry was completely dumped by his best friend in another snub move in the UK. Well, according to the latest news, Harry is going to miss out on his best man's big day. Jack Mann was featured in Band of Brothers' royal wedding photo, and he simply did not invite Harry and Meghan to his wedding. On the night of the royal wedding, Harry was standing shoulder to shoulder with Jack Mann and his other best friends in the Band of Brothers photo at Windsor Castle. And after Harry and Meghan's wedding, it was suggested that Mann was not only one of the ushers, but in fact was his real best man instead of Prince William. So there was some disappointment at the weekend that Harry and Meghan were not invited to Mann's own big day. And there are so many possibilities as to why they didn't come, the most obvious being that they probably were not invited. Another possibility could be that they were invited, but maybe Meghan didn't give them permission to go. And then another possibility could be that considering Harry has had to go home to the UK in recent months quite a few times for these court appearances, maybe he's just had to pay too much money for all these flights, all this accommodation, and also hiring cars and protection. So perhaps coming over for this wedding simply did not fit into their budget. Now, personally, I suspect that they were not invited in the first place. Harry simply does not have what it takes to be a good friend to anybody. He is way too self-absorbed. Now, just imagine what would have happened if Harry had come. He probably would have given a really long speech about losing his mother and all his mental health problems. He wouldn't have even mentioned the fact that his friend was getting married. It would have been all about Harry and Meghan instead of the gorgeous bride and her handsome groom. According to reports, Harry has also had a falling out with his Polo friends, including Nacho and his wife. His teammates kept on having to loan him Polo ponies, but they kept coming back with injuries. And a wedding is supposed to be a celebration that you want to share with family and friends. Harry has proven time and time again that he only cares about money. So why would the wedding couple want the two of them there getting stories to sell for money? And I'm guessing that Harry and Meghan would not have considered attending as a top priority because it wouldn't be suitable as a subject to be included in a talk show or a book or a podcast or whatever. So basically, no financial gain for the two of them. Now, Meghan did allow Harry's friends to be at the wedding because she realized that she wouldn't welcome them in his life any longer. That was their last hurrah. Harry could have had such a great life with a different woman. Harry will live to regret the time that he didn't spend with old friends and family if he doesn't already. He could have had a much more enjoyable life if he and Meghan had chosen family and real friends over money, fame, and fake Hollywood friends. The children, after all, if they're real, really need their extended family in their lives. So the disappointment is going to be for Harry to deal with. He has allowed himself to become alienated from all the people he once cared about, and most importantly, all the people who really cared about him. I would not miss a good friend's wedding for anything, and I'm guessing the couple were actually pretty relieved not having to deal with their ridiculous security demands. I do hope that they had a lovely wedding either way. Harry sure is missing out on a lot these days, isn't he? At some point, he is going to come to understand everything that he has given up, and that's going to be a very sorry day for him indeed. I give the marriage a couple of more years at most. I assumed that he would just torture himself for a decade or so like his mother, but he really doesn't look happy. I never see him with a genuine smile on his face in any photos. Meghan is smiling, but Harry is not. Now, switching gears a little, let's remember that the Bible teaches us that we need to forgive others' transgressions. So sure, I can forgive Meghan and Harry, and I'll gladly do that whenever they ask for forgiveness. But you know what? Forgiveness is not the same thing as forgetting. I do think it's important to forgive what Meghan and Harry did to Her Late Majesty the Queen, to Prince Philip, to King Charles, Prince William, the Prince of Wales, and also his gorgeous wife Catherine. Of course, we also need to include Princess Charlotte, Zara and her family, Princess Anne, and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and so many more unnamed family members, friends, and employees, as reported by so many sources. But I'm never going to be able to forget the horrible, ugly, cold way that Meghan and Harry treated Her Late Majesty the Queen and Prince Philip when they were dying. In my opinion, that is the end game. But anyway, they're not sorry. They never will be sorry. In the meantime, they can continue on their life's journey of desolation and misery. Now, if you asked me before if there would ever come a time when I would believe anything they said and actually trust what they say, the answer would be no, absolutely not. And I would also never ever believe that Meghan would perform any real philanthropic work. Anything she does is to serve herself in some way or another. Meghan is always trying to manipulate things. She's always manipulating photos and emotions, stories, and facts to try to make sure that she gets her way. From her behavior that we have seen over the past years, Meghan seems like a narcissist. And like so many narcissists, Meghan has the charm when she's in a one-on-one encounter with somebody she believes she may actually be able to use at some point. When she wants to turn on the charm, she can be very effective actually. She can convince the person they are the most important person that she knows. But she'll never reveal a lot of true information about herself. Meghan cares about herself, and only herself. Everybody else is something to be used. We've already learned that Harry was always a petty, jealous, and angry individual. His negative characteristics have only been enhanced since Meghan walked into his life, and at this point he's only interested in getting what he wants, which has included rectifying his not being able to save his late mother by saving Meghan because he believes that Meghan is somehow her surrogate. And at this point, Harry's alleged philanthropic work is also self-serving. If at some point he comes to understand what a toxic relationship he has with Meghan, and he leaves her and actually authentically makes amends, then maybe he can eventually find out what was genuine and caring about Diana within himself, and perhaps at that point he will actually be able to do some good in the world. But Meghan does not understand the idea of forgiveness. She would only view that as a sign of weakness, something that she can exploit. Forgiving Meghan would be a complete waste of time and energy. She would just believe that she had fooled somebody, as she just tries to put another one over on you. Let's look at R12 Foundation, for example. I mean, they collected a lot of money in donations, but they only gave about $90,000 or something pitiful like that away. It was way less than what they collected. So where exactly is that balance? Are they going to donate it? I would love to know. I do agree with people who say they would never trust anything that comes out of their mouths, and I believe they can keep about 95% of the funds collected as payables to their employees, including and mostly themselves. Now, if Harry were really such an altruist, then I would assume that he would give the money that he makes for his appearance fee at the Invictus Games, which, okay, we're not even going to go into the fact that he demands to be paid to show up to his own charity event for veterans, but anyway, I would assume that he would give all of that money to the foundation. But then again, if he did, then how would the poor Sussexes be able to pay for their mansion, their staff, their car services, their fancy clothes, the jewelry, and the travel? I mean, after all, wearing Cartier and flying around in private planes are not cheap. And Harry does not owe me an apology, not in the least. Instead, he needs to apologize to the many people in his own family, some no longer with us. He owes them an apology. Harry knew better, but he allowed that horrible mattress actress Meghan Markle, an entitled, dishonest, and basically very ugly person, to lead him so far astray. There is no way back for the two of them, but if he tries to come back alone, then maybe eventually people will forgive him. And you, what do you think about this couple? Let us know your view below in the comments. Don't be afraid to click the like button and share my video with anybody else who needs it anytime you want. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.